When Bella becomes the new nanny for the Addams family. Bella's paw. Bella has had enough. Edward was never coming back and she had finished high school. She was moving to Los Angeles. She was hired to be the new nanny to the Addams family, a recently widowed father and 3 young kids who live at 001 Cemetery Lane. Hopefully they would not mind someone depressed and suicidal. Gomez's paw. Gomez Addams was once again at the tombstone of his late wife Morticia. She was murdered by a werewolf late one night when the moon was full. She had gone to pick more poison ivy for her garden when she encountered the beautiful beast who struck her down. Gomez found her just seconds away from death and her last words to him was to find someone to live the rest of his life with. He could never say no to Morticia. He had a crash come from behind him. "Hold him still," yelled Wednesday. "I don't want to hold him." Pugsley yelled back. Crash. Gomez looked at the grave again. "I miss you so, cara mia." Gomez signed. 3 children, so many breakable things. Hopefully the nanny can help out. "I picked a young girl straight out of high school from Forks, Washington." Gomez said out loud. "Forks, what sharp weapons." Gomez smiles, something he has rarely done now. Bella's paw. "My flight just landed in Los Angeles. I sees a tall man greenish in color holding a sign with my name on it. I assumes this is Lurch, the butler I was told about when I filled out the application. I walked over to him. 'Hello,' I says. I hold out my hand to shake his hand. When he grabs my hand it feels like he is crushing it. He grabs my bags and he takes me to this car. The car looks kind of like an old hearse mixed with sports car. I watch the scenery as I go by thinking that I hope they like me. This is the first time I will be looking out for someone other than me and my father. I didn't realize that we were already there until Lurch opened the door. 'Thank you, Lurch,' I say as I stepped out of the car and took my first look up the house. To my surprise it was a mansion. It looked really run down. If they don't care about the house, maybe they won't care about how I look. I lost a lot of weight after he left. Even thinking about his name brings tears to my eyes. My eyes are sunk in, my skin is really pale, sickening looking, my bones are showing. My hair has lost its shine, looks very brittle. Time to face the music, I thought in my head. Gomez's paw. I walked downstairs on the left yelling for my children, Wednesday, Pugsley and Pubert. Wednesday is now 9 years old. It's been a whole year since Morticia's died. Pugsley is 11 and Pubert is 2 years old. I make it downstairs near the front door and there are my 3 children. "Now children, the new nanny is about to arrive. I want you to be polite and respectable. I do not want you chasing off the nanny like you did last time." I tell my children in a jolly tone, keeping myself together in front of them. I hear the doorbell screech. Gosh, I love that doorbell. It sends shivers down my spine. I walk to the door and open it. There in front of my eyes is the most beautiful creature I've ever seen, besides Morticia. "Hello, my name is Isabella Swan. The agency sent me from Forks, Washington," she said in the most heartbreaking voice ever. "This is the woman I've been waiting for." I turn around and I introduced her to my children. "This, my children, is Isabella Swan, the new nanny. I want you to give her the respect that you give me," I tell the children in my most authoritative voice. I turn to her and say, "Welcome to the Addams family mansion. My name is Gomez Addams and you've met Lurch, and these are my 3 children, Wednesday, Pugsley and Pubert. Grandmama is in the kitchen. You will probably meet her later. Dinner is at 6:30 p.m. I will show you to the guest room. Follow me, please." I stick the cigar in my mouth and start walking up the stairs. I decided to put her in the guest room upstairs, closer to the children and me. I turn left and right next to Wednesday's room. I opened the door and said, "This is your room now. Right next to yours is Wednesday's. Across the hall is Pugsley's and down the hall is Pubert. My room is right up the hall. If you need anything, scream." I leave her to unpack and head to my study. Bella's paw. I look around the new room I was presented with and I have to say I love the dark colors. The bed looks amazing with the drapes hanging off of them, easy enough to hide the sunlight coming in the morning. The side tables look like mahogany with one drawer and the Iron Maiden draws the room it in. I look at my 2 tiny suitcases and say I'm going to need more clothes to fill this room. I put my clothes away and get a shower. I look at the clock and it says 6:15. I start to head downstairs, not sure where to go, so I wander and I find myself in an office. Just by the smell of smoke I knew this must be Gomez's office. As soon as I thought that, the chair swivel around and there sat my new employer, Gomez Addams. "Oh my dear, do you like your new room? Is there something you need?" Gomez asked in a happy tone. I must say he looks gorgeous, he's got to be a lady killer. I love everything, it's dark and depressing, just perfect. I answer him. I'm just a little lost getting to the dining room, perhaps you can show me where it is. I asked him. Gomez's paw. I'm just a little lost getting to the dining room, perhaps you can show me where it is. She asked me in a quiet voice. She looks simply divine in her tight dress that goes to her knees. The blood red of it sends shivers down my spine. I would love to take you to the dining room, it must be dinner time by now. Grandmama makes the best home recipes. I intertwine our elbows and lead the way to the dining room. Along the way she stumbles and I hold her up. Crimson blush makes its way to her face, making her look so sexy as she tries to hide behind her hair. In my mind I'm thinking Tish must have sent her. She looks so dark and depressing, she looks so unhappy, I must change that. When we get to the dining room, Wednesday and Pugsley are already there. Where is Pubert? I asked the children. They shrug their shoulders. I hear a whistling sound and move my head to the left. Right there against the wall was a knife and behind me was Pubert. Good job, Pubert, you almost got me. Oh, we have to work on that aim. Pubert smiles at me and sits down. Grandma comes in and brings in her famous arsenic tea and sea serpent soup and moldy bread. I pull the chair out for Isabella and push her in and I sit next to her. Grandmama, this is Isabella, the new nanny. Isabella, this is Grandma Frump. I introduce them. Welcome, Isabella, and it'd be nice to have another woman's touch around here again. Anything you need, you come to me or Lurch. Grandmama says. Suddenly Thing jumps on her shoulder. Thing, you naughty boy, I'm sorry about this, Isabella, this is Thing, he's just a little enthusiastic. I tell her. Hello Thing, it's nice to meet you. She says to him and she pulls him down to sit him on the table next to her. I watch her as she eats. She doesn't eat very much, maybe that's why she's so dead thin. We finished dinner and I send the children to bed. As we both get up I tell her that the children normally wake about 7:38 a.m. and they are to school by 9. I lead to the stairs and bid her good night. As I brush by her I hear her whisper quietly, good night. Gomez Pav. I once again found myself at my late wife's tombstone. As I gaze at it I began to speak out loud. Oh Karamia, I believe you sent the perfect woman for me. Even though I will always love you, I think I will try with her and perhaps this may work. The children already adore her just from the broken way. She looks so perfect, looks like death warmed over such a perfect shade, almost wilted looking. I hear snap behind me and I turn around and in the distance I see a stunning black cloak. The face tilts up and I notice that it is Isabella going up the hill towards the oldest Addams family tombs. She doesn't seem to notice me, so I slowly start to follow her until she gets to my mother and father's grave, where she climbs up to the tombstone and she sits between them. I wonder why she would do this. No other Addams really sat there before, nor anybody else really. No one really wanted to go into the graveyard that are not family. I get close enough to hear what she is saying. Oh, what a beautiful scene. The lovely tombstones and mausoleums, and to think I will one day soon be added to the splendor of the cemetery in Forks. Edward will know that he is cause of it. He ripped out my heart and stomped on it in that forest. The suicidal thoughts and depression are starting to take its toll. No one will want someone who looks like me now. She sounds utterly devastating and it makes me want her so much more. I slowly back away, moving back towards the house. I think it's time for me to come up with a plan to woo her. Bella's paw. After I've gotten to my room I decide to grab my black cloak with the silver fasteners and go out to their graveyard I noticed in the back. I slowly make my way up the hill when I noticed a beautiful tombstone of a couple riding in a carriage, and there in between them enough space for me to say. I climb up and sit between them and take in the splendor of this cemetery. I start to speak softly to the dead. Oh, what a beautiful scene, the lovely tombstones and mausoleums, and to think I will one day soon be added to the splendor of the cemetery in Forks. Edward will know that he is cause of it. He ripped out my heart and stomped on it in that forest. The suicidal thoughts and depression are starting to take its toll. No one will want someone who looks like me now. I was for sure that no one could hear me as I spoke. I thought I saw someone earlier, but maybe it was just another tombstone like this one. It is simply gorgeous. I lean back and let the moonlight flow over me. After a while I climbed down and I noticed writing on the side of the tomb, Sic gorgiamus allos subjectatos nunc. I wonder what this means. Maybe I will ask Mr. Addams. I start to head back to my room, avoiding a knife and an axe heading my way and the children. I did trip over a wire though. That hurt a little bit, but I think that's just my normal clumsy self. A normal person would have been able to avoid that. I put my clothes away and change into my pajamas. I had a change in style since Edward left. I now wear more silk. My new nightgown is a black silk with blood red lace near on the breast. I bought this one a week before Edward left and just never wore it, so I decided to bring it with me and have a change. I climb into bed and turn out the lights and hope that I will not have another nightmare. The shrieks might just terrified everyone. Maybe they might get rid of me just like the other family did. A few tears escaped my eyes as I finally drifted to sleep. Bella's paw. I sense as although I'm dreaming, I see Edward in front of me walking away. I run to try and trap up with him, but it is like I can by no means attain him. I hear snap from at the back of me. I turn around me and there's at the back of me, however why might he be behind me? Bella, he says in a seductive voice. He reaches his hand out toward me and then there is a growl at the back of me. The subsequent component I recognize. I feel a pierce in my neck. I scream, clutching my neck as I sit up straight in my bed. I sniffle lower back tears. As I am breathing loud, I recognize that no one has ran into my room. That is very uncommon. Someone has continually bumped into my room whilst I am screaming, looking to war evil villains. I lay back and suppose perhaps they did not pay attention to me, however that's not possible. Wednesday is right subsequent to me and the others are proper throughout and down the hall. That is an unusual own family. I turn over and try to move back to sleep. Gomez. Pav. I slip into my vacant room, very painfully conscious that Morticia is no longer with me. I undress and climb into my mattress. I assume to myself, how do I woo the seductive creature down the corridor? I need to discover greater about her past and this Edward she's talking approximately. Who can be so vicious as to break her to portions? Perhaps I can slowly piece again together her coronary heart. I take out a notepad and write out Forks, Washington, and write down the wide variety of a personal investigator as a reminder to do tomorrow. I lay down and nod off. All of a unexpected I pay attention, a shriek, so thrilling, so blood-curdling it's exquisite. If she will make that form of noise, I ponder what sort of noise she can make in mattress. I want to make her scream like that for me. I arise out of my bed and observe the time, 2:30 in the morning. I grabbed my house coat and slippers and I slowly open my door and stroll down the corridor and stop at her dorm. Her screams are starting to come down now as I pay attention, her jaw up and respiratory genuinely difficult. She sniffles again, tears. Who has damaged her so horrific that she can't get better? As I listen her lay back, I begin to stroll all the way down to my office. I go to the phone and I pick it up and dial the quantity of the investigator I ought to discover greater now. Ring, ring. The man. Alternatives up the telephone and solutions. P.I. Harry Blackburn. How may additionally I help you? I smile and answer again. My name is Gomez Addams and I would like to hire you to look at a younger girl from Forks, Washington. I'm able to pay you any of amount. He signs on the telephone. I want the name of the young woman. I slap myself inside the brow. Of direction, expensive man. Her call is Isabella Swan. I would like to know everything from whilst she changed into Bourne to what she did 2 weeks ago. He solutions me returned. This can take the time. I generally need half the quantity now and half of later. The entire general can be $10,000 as we're going lower back thus far. I growth the charge by means of some $1,000. I smile. I'm able to pay an additional $2,000. Have the information in 2 weeks. Will we have an agreement? He replies again. We have an agreement. I need your address to send the records as soon as I received it. I supply him my cope with and cling up the cell phone charm. I am hoping this works. I'm honestly looking ahead to mastering her greater intimately. I get up out of my chair and head right down to my room, preventing by means of her door to pay attention and hear her breathe. So her screeching has stopped. It really is a disgrace. Oh, nicely, there is always tomorrow night. I stroll right down to my room and lay in my mattress and sign. I placed my cigar out and placed it on the facet desk and that I close my eyes. Gomez's paw. 2 weeks have exceeded in view that she's been here and he or she has been a large help, playing with the kids, preserving it great and dusty. She's been preserving the lawn beautifully. She's managed to restoration Morticia's roses. I couldn't bear to touch them after she handed each rose clipped at the pinnacle, the stunning stems displayed all over the house. Knock, knock. Factor reached out of his field and passed me the mail and a massive envelope. Thank you, component. I tell him and he taps that you're welcome. I examine the mail and see the envelope from Harry Blackburn. I've been waiting for this. I opened the envelope and spot it as the statistics I desired, and that I start to examine. Isabella become born to Charlie Swan and Renee Dwyer. She is a 19 years vintage girl who switched to Forks, Washington High while she was 17, wherein she met and fell in love with a supposed vampire named Edward Cullen. Her mother and father are divorced when she became 3 years vintage. Every summer season, seeing that she changed into ill, she might go to her father on the police leader in Forks. She took ballet and piano, however observed them too difficult and cease. Bella became usually an outcast of her school, like she was too old for them, couldn't even relate to her mother. She changed into very impartial, like and grown up for maximum of her lifestyles she loves. Isabella recommended her mother to head on dates where she might work cold remarry, and Bella determined to stay together with her father to provide her mom greater time with Phil, her new husband, a baseball participant. In foreign exchange on her first actual day, boys took hobby in her like in no way before, such as Edward Cullen, and the year they got collectively and Bella located herself in love. He discovered that he changed into a vampire and the others of his family had been vampires as properly. She additionally determined out that she become his singer, which means her blood was very mighty. It for him she failed to care. A whole year pass, and on her 18th birthday she cut her finger on a gift, and Jasper, one of the Vampire's Cove inmates, trying to drink her, causing Edward to push her into a tumbler table with all of the dishes. She cut her arm from wrist to elbow, causing Ever to expire of the room. She faints at the odor of blood. Edward decided that she becomes safer without him and takes her out to the wooded area near her residence, tells her that he would not want her, and notion of her as a toy, breaking her and turning her catatonic for maximum of her senior year. She pulls herself out of it enough to complete high school and get a nanny task. As I end studying it, I let loose of Sign, a vampire that has damaged her heart. It'll be a touch hard to be, however I think I can do it. She likes to examine the classics. I rise up and stroll to my cabinets. I believe I have a primary edition of Romeo and Juliet and of Wuthering Heights. I am hoping that she may like these, considering that I discovered out her birthday, which is in 3 days. I shall gift them to her. I take a seat back off at my desk and retain to plan a way to woo her, with any luck with these books a start. Bella's Pav. Wow, I can't believe it has already been 2 weeks because I started out as a nanny. It has not been that horrific. Reputedly they like dust, and Gomez caught me reducing the flower heads off of the roses and didn't even yell at me. He said it seems exquisite. The greater I find out about this own family, the greater I love them. Wednesday. Pugsley and Pubert. Video games are not that terrible. Waking the Dead and Is There a God is quite amusing. I in particular preferred once they played Marie Antoinette and used guillotine to reduce off her head. I experience as though I'm getting too connected, mainly to Gomez. It looks as if on every occasion he is inside the room my blood begins to boil. I'm so painfully aware of him. Is this even ordinary? Lurching Grandmama has been very useful. I like Grandmama's recipes, despite the fact that I was a touch hesitant at the beginning. Certainly one of them moved, but it turned into desirable, however, and the tea is actually divine. I by no means notion to position arsenic in my tea. I pay attention. The kids come down the steps. Nanny, Isabella, are we able to pass and play in the swamp? Wednesday. Ask me. Yes, can we? Pugsley asked as nicely. I requested them, in which is Pubert at. They both replied at the identical time, placing above your head. I look up and notice him protecting a knife. So I sidestepped left as he dropped it. I inform them that they may go and to take Pubert with them. I signal as they stroll out the door. I flip around and I head upstairs to the library to sit down and study. As I calm down with a book, I find myself getting drowsy and that I flow off to sleep. Gomez's Pav. I determine to move down the library and sit and study a book myself. As I make my way down, I see a Mildon and marvel who is within the library. I enter the library and there in my reading chair sat Isabella with a book on her chest and asleep, although from the agony on her face I don't suppose it is an excellent dream. She starts off evolved to twitch violently and begins murmuring, "Do not pass." So she talks to her sleep, and who's she telling not to head, after which I pay attention. One phrase that draws me returned in. Gomez, don't cross, she says in a heartbreaking manner. My heart lurches forward in my chest. She's dreaming approximately me, and by means of the sounds of it, it looks as if I'm leaving. Why would she be dreaming of me leaving? I lean down towards see if I can listen something else, however it's all simply mumbles. I crouched down next to her and drag my hand across her hair. So brittle. Maybe it's time I start supporting her. I am hoping that I can convey her again to her glory. I call her name softly. Isabella, Isabella, wake up my darkish splendor. Would I utter the ultimate phrase, her eyes flutter unsleeping. Bella's paw. I slowly glide wide awake to the sound of my name. Wait, did he just refer to as me, my darkish splendor? I have to still be dreaming. I open my eyes and Gomez is crouched down next to me. I fell asleep inside the library. How embarrassing. I'm hoping I did not communicate in my sleep. I may want to simply die if I did. Hiya, I say in a groggy voice. Please name me Gomez, none of this nonsense. He says that pleased tone. I nod and say, Gomez. Warmness rushes via my veins as I say his call. I sit up and the e-book falls at the floor. We reach to seize it at the identical time. I by chance grabbed his hand. A kickback is going up my arm. I yank my arm back. What if he is a vampire too? That thought abruptly leaves my head on the same time as a blush involves his face. Vampires can't blush or eat. He palms me my e-book and that I say, thank you, I'm this sort of klutz. He waves his hand and says, now not a hassle. He stands up and says, it's nearly dinner time, allow me escort you to the eating room. I stand up and he grabs my arm and intertwines with hands. As soon as he intertwines, set of blood rushes to my face. I must appear to be a tomato now, so embarrassing. He leads me to the eating room as he does. He asked, please join me in my workplace after dinner. I really like to talk about something with you. He replaces his cigar back in his mouth and continues walking. I ponder what he wants to speak to me approximately. Have I completed something wrong? Maybe I have not given the youngsters enough attention. I make my manner to a chair. I sit down. I noticed sees them all has made her well-known octopus and kidney pot pie. Grandmama definitely knows the way to prepare dinner. I'd have in no way idea to use these sort of elements. Maybe she need to turn out to be a chef and write her personal cookbook. The youngsters walk in and I observed Pubert is hung another time upside down. Good day kids, how turned into the swamp? I asked them curiously. The swamp became lovely as a way, despite the fact that the swamp monster would not come out to play, Wednesday said with a moderate pout. Oh expensive, I am sorry Wednesday, perhaps he's going to pop out to play day after today. I consoled her. How about you Pugsley, did you have a pleasing time at the swamp? I requested him. Sure, I've an amazing time. I tried blowing up Wednesday but the trigger got all slimy so it won't paintings and I could not drown Pubert. He got away. He tells me and that I say, there may be constantly tomorrow. I say sympathetically, now sit and play along with your food. I sit returned and suppose I'd go to the cemetery this night. Perhaps I'm able to wrangle the kids in playing with the dead. It'll deliver them exercise. As I'm questioning I observed out of the corner of my eye that Gomez is watching me. Why might he be looking me? Oh properly, I guess I will find out later. Gomez's paw. I watch her as she eats and suddenly an idea comes to mind. I'll take her on a date. The first date is always a good way to find if we are a good match. When dinner is over I go to her chair and hold up my arm and help her up. I send the children to the playroom down in the dungeon and tell them to have fun and that Nanny Isabella will be with them soon. I lead the way to my study. As we get to the study I pull out the chair and sit her down and I go around instead of my chair. Well Isabella, you've done a fabulous job with the children. The other name is didn't last past 2 days, the children seem to love you. After Morticia died they didn't seem like they would like anybody. You've done so well, in fact I've decided to give you a raise and I have one question. She looks completely stunned with the praise I've given her and she says, thank you Gomez, and I will try to answer your question honestly. I would like to ask you on a date. It's been 1.5 years since Morticia died and I think it's time I try and get back into the game. I really like you and you do a really fabulous job with my kids. Please tell me if I'm being too forward. I say in a desperate / convincing tone. She looks hesitant as if it hurts to think of saying yes or no. Then she says, you're not being too forward. It's been a while since I've been in the dating game and I'm not too sure if I'm ready. But I will give it a try. My heart soars when she says yes. I stand up and ask her, my dear, can hug you? She nods her head yes. I go around the NY desk and I take her into my arms. It feels so wonderful. She's so cold, so dead-like, perfect. She wraps her arms around me and it feels so right, like it was meant to be. Bella's paw. When we get to the Gomez's study he pulls the chair out for me and I sit down. I wonder what he has to talk to me about. He sits down and faces me and he says, Well, Isabella, you've done a fabulous job with the children. The other name is didn't last past 2 days, the children seem to love you. After Morticia died they didn't seem like they would like anybody. You've done so well, in fact I've decided to give you a raise and I have one question. I sit there stunned with the compliments he's giving me. I tell him, thank you Gomez, and I will try to answer your question honestly. What he said next blew my mind and I'm not sure if I really wanted to answer it, but I need to answer him. His question was, I would like to ask you on a date. It's been 1.5 years since Morticia died and I think it's time I try and get back into the game. I really like you and you do a really fabulous job with my kids, please tell me if I'm being too forward. He asked me in a desperate way. My answer after I gotten over the shock was, you're not being too forward. It's been a while since I've been in the dating game and I'm not too sure if I'm ready. But I will give it a try. His face breaks out into a great big grin. I feel as though I've given him the greatest gift in the world. He then asks me if he can hug me. I shake my head yes in confirmation. He comes around the table and as soon as he puts his arms around me, there's this great big shock running through my system almost like static. When I put my arms around him it felt like I was meant to be here, like I couldn't get enough of the hug. I hugged him tighter. Then all of a sudden I heard a terrifying blood-curdling screaming of the children. A terrible howling filled the house. Bella's paw. We jump apart and run out of the room to the playroom in the dungeon. We find claw marks all over the room and the children gone. On the rack we find a note with a long knife stabbed to it. I read, Gomez Addams, if you want your children back go to where you found your wife almost dead, come tomorrow at midnight or the children die. Signed the creature. I look at Gomez and say, who's the creature and what does it mean where you found your wife almost dead? We have to find the children, I say in my head. Gomez stands there in shock, then dark look crosses his face. Tell me what is going on. Is this the person who killed your wife? I yelled at him. Gomez signs and he begins to speak. The person who killed Morticia 1.5 years ago was a child of the moon, or what you call a werewolf. I didn't know who he was. All I know is I caught the back of him with a stiletto knife, but it didn't slow him down. The last words Morticia spoke to me before she passed was to find someone to spend the rest of my life with, and it's been really hard to honor her wishes, but I'm trying now. I don't know why he's coming after my family, but no one messes with the Addams twice and gets away with it. As our motto goes, sic gorgiamus allos subjectados nunc, we gladly feast on those who would subdue us. He looks deeply into my eyes and says, we will find the children and get them back. I don't know what caused me to do this, but as soon as he said those words to me, I reach up and I kiss him. The kiss felt so wonderful, so powerful, like I could do anything in the world. Gomez's paw. We race down to the playroom as soon as I hear the screams and find the room empty with claw marks all over the wall. Isabella points out a note attached to the rack with a long knife pointed through it. It looks kind of like my stiletto that I hit the werewolf with 1.5 years ago with. Isabella reads the note aloud. Gomez Addams, if you want your children back go to where you found your wife almost dead, come tomorrow at midnight or the children die. Signed the creature. A shock goes through my system, it's the werewolf. Isabella turns to me and yells, who's the creature and what does it mean where you found your wife almost dead? My face turns angry, that werewolf is going to pay. Isabella snaps me out of my thought as she yells again, tell me what is going on. Is this the person who killed your wife? I sign and then I start to explain. The person who killed Morticia 1.5 years ago was a child of the moon, or what you call a werewolf. I didn't know who he was. All I know is I caught the back of him with a stiletto knife, but it didn't slow him down. The last words Morticia spoke to me before she passed was to find someone to spend the rest of my life with, and it's been really hard to honor her wishes, but I'm trying now. I don't know why he's coming after my family, but no one messes with the Addams twice and gets away with it. As our motto goes, sic gorgiamus allos subjectados nunc, we gladly feast on those who would subdue us. I look deeply into her eyes and say, we will find the children and get them back. She suddenly reaches up and kisses me. I felt a shock go throughout my whole system, something I never felt with Morticia. I feel as though the passion is bubbling out of me. We have to find the children, so we can be one big happy family again. Isabella will complete the family. I pull back from her and say, did you feel the static? The pull of our hearts connecting. When we find the children we will be complete again. I've never noticed how we work in sync until now. When we find the children will you consent to being mine? Bella's pa. I were given return to my room after Gomez left me to make plans. He requested me to be his, it's a dream come authentic. But what if the monster simply desired to harm Gomez by taking the nearest factor from him? If he is going to make plans I am going to make backup plans. I go to my secret drawer in my desk and that I pull out a brief knife embedded with silver. After mastering about Edward not anything surprises me anymore. I have found out how to guard myself towards witches, werewolves and shapeshifters. Quite a great deal anything legendary I've researched. I realize werewolves if stabbed or shot with silver can be killed. If I will try to exchange locations with the children. If I will get near sufficient I will try and stab him in the heart. I'm now not going to let any person damage my new own family. If I cannot then at the least I stored the kids. I've come to like the ones youngsters like they may be mine, their unwell sadistic loving nature has grown on me. I never notion I would really like every person once more. Not after what they did that family did to me. I cover the knife up my sleeve, feeling it slice my arm slightly. I head to Gomez's workplace. As I am getting close to I pay attention him talking to some on the smartphone about supporting us get the kids lower back. I knock on the door and he says, are available in. I input and notice Grandmama, lurch an aspect inside the room. Gomez says, Fester, my brother could be here in the morning to help. I've a plan. Are available in and sit, I will inform you about. I sit down at the arm of his table chair and says, well we could have it. I deliver him my full attention. Gomez's pa, right here's the plan. Whilst Fester gets here he's going to dig a tunnel beneath wherein Morticia died and he's going to installation bombs. I'm going to trap the monster far from the children and Fester's going to set the bombs off optimistically trapping him underground. The creature forgot the moon isn't full the following day, we will use this to our advantage. I look at Isabella and see something glitter on close to her wrist. I realize that glitter everywhere, it is a knife. Both she is the usage of it for safety or she is going to kill someone. Grandmama commenced to talk drawing my interest far away from Isabella. I'm able to glance through my witchcraft books and notice if there is something in there to defend against a werewolf. Lurch groaned in settlement. The telephone rang and I spoke back it, Gomez Addams. It was Fester telling me that he were given a higher flight out. He might be right here late this night with his spouse. I hold up the telephone. Fester and his wife Dementia can be right here late tonight, they got a better flight. The extra time the higher. Isabella says, what if he has pals? What can we do then? I in no way though of that. I'm in order that concerned about the youngsters. I say, I'm hoping they get caught in the explosion trapping them down beneath. Fester is going to fill the cave beneath with brief sand. Hopefully they may not be capable of get out. I had unique made bullets made after Morticia died. In case the werewolf ever came returned. I will get my revenge. Bella gets up and says, what number of bullets did you get made? My father taught me how to shoot many forms of weapons, he is the police chief in Forks, Washington. I tell her, I made 1,000 altogether, I will put together 6 weapons. We can each get 3 and Fester may have 3 silver cannonballs, they're his preferred aside from dynamite. So Grandmama will have her potions. Uncle Fester can have dynamite and cannonballs and Isabella and I can have guns. Everybody but Isabella leaves. I come across the table and gather my fingers and that I inform her. We are able to get the children lower back. I just understand it. No person has ever won towards Addams. She buries her face into my chest and hugs me tightly. Do you promise? She mumbles to me. Go my heart and hope to die, I say in confirmation. I kiss her tough, leaving her dazed. I send her to bed telling her, not to worry we are able to try this and to get some rest. I positioned my cigar out and head to my room with Element following me. I position Thing in his container and tells him good night. I underdress and I go to sleep assured that my plan will paintings. Bella's pa. I awaken to the empty feeling in my heart. No children playing pranks or growling. I leave out them so much. They brought me lower back to life. I arise and dress, remembering my silver knife. I head to Gomez's office. I cannot wait to meet Fester and his spouse, Dementia. What peculiar names I idea. I get near Gomez's workplace once I listen a sudden shout, brother. said Gomez. Then you listen some other shout from a man, brother. I expect that Fester and his spouse has arrived. I knock on the door and I pay attention a come in from Gomez. I enter the room to see a bald couple standing in the front of the desk. Hi there, my call is Isabella, the nanny. I introduce myself. Hi there, I'm Fester and this is my wife, Dementia. You can call me uncle if you want, the children do. Talking of the kids, I came past due ultimate night. I have already dug the tunnel to the area, I've set the bombs. We must be proper to go. Is there whatever else for me to do? Uncle Fester requested. Gomez shakes his head no. Isabella and I will have 3 weapons apiece with silver bullets and you will have your cannon. I had unique cannonballs made for it. Gomez's tells him. Uncle Fester smiles. We've this inside the bag. I study Dementia. How about an adorable cup of tea? We've deadly nightshade, it is pretty lovable. I ask her. Sounds cute. She responded. We make our manner to the kitchen and I ring Lurch. You rang madam, he requested. Yes, can you please make 2 cups of deadly nightshade tea please and a few cockroach clusters? I ask him. Sure madam. He repeats. Thank you Lurch. I sit at the desk and sign. Dementia, how do I fit in with the Addams circle of relatives? I am manifestly an interloper. I ask her desperately. Dementia sipped her tea and said, Darling, you already look like an Addams, you are faded as the moon. Nearly lifeless like, the suitable color. You sound as depressed and suicidal because the relaxation people. You will make an excellent Addams family member. I sign up remedy, I need to be best for Gomez and the kids. I say, thank you, I want to be perfect for Gomez, I already love the kids like they may be my personal. Gomez's pav. I upward thrust from my bed and get dressed for the day. Grabbing my cigar I head to my office watching for my brother to get here. After searching over the budget I listen a knock on the door. I say, enter. My brother walks in with his spouse Dementia. Brother, I yelled. Fester yells back, brother. I grab them in a neck maintain and slam him lower back. Welcome again brother, allows get commenced. We should get my youngsters lower back. I inform him. We both get off the ground. I hear another knock at the door. I name out input and my lovely Isabella enters. Hey, my name is Isabella, the nanny. She delivered herself. Hiya, I'm Fester and this is my spouse, Dementia. You may name me uncle in case you wish, the youngsters do. He introduces himself and his spouse to her. Talking of the youngsters, I came late closing night. I have already dug the tunnel to the place, I have set the bombs. We must be properly to go. Is there something else for me to do? He asked me. I shake my head no and respond. Isabella and I can have 3 weapons apiece with silver bullets and you'll have your cannon. I had unique cannonballs made for it. Quicker smiles at me and I take a look at Isabella, oh she will be mine. Fester says, we have this within the bag. Isabella looks at Dementia and says, how about a cute cup of tea? We've lethal nightshade, it is quite lovable. She asked her with a grin. Demetria responded, sounds lovable. The ladies left the room. I examine Fester. I have found another bride. She's now not Morticia, but she has her very own specific unique appeal. How can I fall in love once more so soon after Morticia has surpassed? And I'm making the proper choice brother. I requested him desperately searching out advice. Fester tells me, I cannot provide you with a solution to your question. Absolutely everyone's grieving is exclusive, simply study me and Debbie. 3 months after she surpassed I discovered Dementia and soon married her. I have been happy ever since. Do what you feel is proper, do you love her? He requested me. I assume it over and that I respond. I trust I do. On every occasion I think of her, I want to move on a killing spree. I want to swallow warm knives, be torn aside limb with the aid of limb for her. To make her satisfied. With the one's phrases I determined to inform her after we've got the youngsters lower back. Gomez's pav. I acquire every person again into the office. 2 hours until we must meet the creature. 2 hours closer until I've my youngsters returned. We're pass over the plan once more until we're surely certain that we've it in the bag. All of us leaves besides for Isabella to get ready. I come across the table and I take a seat on the threshold and I study her and say, are you unhappy darling? She replies, extraordinarily so. I omit the kids. I smile and say, we are able to get them lower back. We've got just more hours and we will see their little faces once more and they may wreak havoc upon the neighborhood all over again. I smile and I pulled her into my arms and hug her tightly. Simply feeling her heartbeat, understanding she's right here, method extra than me, then the graveyards are the coffins. I inform her chin up and that I softly kiss her. The kiss sends static through my veins, her lips are as smooth as velvet. I drag my hand up her waist via her hair, gripping it as the kiss turns into extra heated. She weaked out a smooth moan, it sends heat directly down to my toes. This love feels a lot extraordinary from Morticia, like I have to defend her from the arena. The door bangs open and that I leap returned from her. Fester stands within the doorway smirking. It's 11:30, we hire get going, it is a 15-minute stroll. He walks out heading toward the front door. I look in the direction of Isabella and say, "Are you prepared to get the kids returned?" She replies, "I've been ready, let's pass." The tone she gave is more hair-raising and deadly than I have ever heard from this stunning quiet creature. I intertwine our arms and we march toward the door. When we get there we see Lurch and Grandmama holding a dozen vials of deadly poison. Grandmama says, "We brewed the maximum lethal and strong potions and poison I ought to discover in my ebook." She cackles and Lurch groans in agreement. Fester and Dementia both have a cannonball in their hand, and from Fester's bulging pocket, he's were given the 0.331 there. I open the closet door subsequent to the door and pull out the 6 weapons and 3 packing containers of silver ammo. I hand her 3 handguns. She places one in her boot, one in her waistband and one in her again pocket. I have to say she seems pretty attractive with a gaggle of guns and quite lethal. I take the opposite 3 weapons and that I placed inside the holsters on my sides and one in my returned pocket as nicely. I take hold of 6 lanterns and give them every one. I tell everybody that it's time to move. We head out the door and via the cemetery to the forest. I inform the others, it's a 15-minute walk. We begin walk and I take a look at my clock, 11:45 it suggests. I hold the lantern up excessive as we get closer to the spot my dear Morticia surpassed. We get closer and my heart jumps out of my chest, the youngsters gagged and sure at the toes of someone. I see another parent barely at the back of the man or woman. I pull the lantern toward the individual and Isabella permits out a gasp whilst she sees the 2 human beings and grips my arm tighter. Bella's paw. Gomez gathers that's back in the office. 2 hours till we meet the creature, we go over the plan until we memorize it. As everyone else leaves, Gomez comes around the desk and looks at me. He asked, "Are you unhappy, my darling?" I reply, "Terribly so, I miss the children." He smiles and says, "We will get them back. We have just 2 more hours and we will see their little faces again and they will wreak havoc upon the neighborhood once more." He smiles and pulls me into a tight hug. The tight hug feels so suffocating, just perfect. He is so strong and muscular. He tells my chin up and kisses me softly, the kiss chills me to my bones. His lips so rough and warm. He drags his hand up my waist into my hair, gripping it tightly as I push myself closer to him. I let out a soft moan. This love is so much more passionate than it was Edward. I almost feel like I can breathe again. The door is open and we jump back from each other. Fester stands in the doorway smirking. It's 11:30, we better get going. It's a 15-minute walk. He walks out heading towards the front door. Gomez looks at me and says, "Are you ready to get the children back?" I reply, "I've been ready, let's go." The tone I give promises deadly payback. Gomez intertwines our arms and we march towards the front door. When we get there we see Lurch and Grandmama holding a dozen vials of deadly poison. Grandmama says, "We brewed the most deadly and potent potions and poison I could find in my book." She cackles and Lurch groans in agreement. Fester and Dementia both have a cannonball in their hand. Though he gave them 3. Gomez opened the closet door next to the door and pull out the 6 guns and 3 boxes of silver ammo. He hands me 3 handguns. I puts one in my boot, one in my waistband and one in my back pocket, all with the safety on. I must say I looks pretty sexy with a bunch of guns and quite deadly. He take the other 3 guns and put 2 in the holsters on his sides and one in his back pocket like I did. He grabs 6 lanterns and give us each one. He tell everyone that it's time to go. We head out the door and through the cemetery to the forest. He tell the others, it's a 15-minute walk. We start walk and he look at his watch which reads 11:45. He hold the lantern up high as we get closer to the spot where Morticia passed. We get closer and my heart jumps out of my chest, the children gagged and bound at the feet of someone. I see another figure slightly behind the person. He pulled the lantern closer to the person and I lets out a gasp when I see the two people and grips his arm tighter. I am pissed. It's a good thing we brought lanterns with us. I was going to kill Jacob and Edward. How dare they steal the children? What the hell? I yelled. Why the fuck would you do something like this? My patience is wearing thin. As I look closer at Edward, the first noticed his eyes to change colors. They're no longer butterscotch but deep pulsing red. He switched diets. I look at Jacob and notice he's hairy. I thought he was a shapeshifter. What happened last I saw of him 2 years ago? Jacob, what the fuck happened to you? I was getting angrier and angrier by the second. You better start talking, I said in a deadly tone, causing everyone but Gomez to flinch. Gomez's paw. The fury that bursted out of Isabella was amazingly sexy. Apparently Isabella knew these men that kidnapped my children and killed my wife. I looked towards these men and asked them why. Why did this? What has my family ever done to you? The anguish in my voice causing Bella to tighten her hold. Edward smirks at Jacob, reading his mind, and says, should I tell them for you or you mutt? He chuckles evilly. Shut up, bloodsuckers. He snaps back. 200 years ago my great-great-great-grandmother was turned down by bloodthirst Addams, after he left her pregnant to sail on the seas. Since then my family has sworn vengeance against Addams' family, and today I will end their line and get my Isabella back. He repeated. Well, I thought bloodthirst Addams didn't have any children. I say, I didn't know bloodthirst Addams had children. It's not recorded anywhere in our family line. Why swear vengeance against children? And if you think that's will get your Isabella back, you obviously don't know her. You took the 3 people that means the most to her right now. I smirk and watch as things slowly untied the children without them knowing. The vampire Edward lets out a chuckle. I just came back now that her blood has matured, and the children can be a snack. As soon as he said that, the children sprang away and Fester detonate the bombs, causing the ground collapse beneath the two. Isabella and I both take out our guns and shoot into the hole. We hear a grunt of pain. As soon as the dust clears, we see both men lying at the bottom of the pit. Isabella surprises me by taking out a long silver knife and with accuracy throws it and lands in the heart of Jacob. She says, you would have never won me back, especially after you threatened and kidnapped members of my new family. I look at the severely burnt vampire and say, she is mine, all mine. I pull her into a quick kiss and pull out my flamethrower cigar lighter. Lights out. I pull the trigger and purple smoke starts flowing out of the hole. I turn around and cheer with the rest of the group. Isabella rushes to the children, pulling them close. Isabella paw. Gomez looks towards the guys and says, why do this? What has my family ever done to you? The anguish on his voice almost brings me to tears. Edward smirks at Jacob, reading what he was thinking, and says, should I tell them for you or you mutt? He lets out a dark chuckle. Jacob snaps back, shut it, bloodsucker. 200 years ago my great-great-great-grandmother was turned down by bloodthirst Addams, after he left her pregnant to sail on the seas. Since then my family has sworn vengeance against Addams' family, and today I will end their line and get my Isabella back. He repeated, why swear vengeance against children? And if you think that's will get your Isabella back, you obviously don't know her. You took the 3 people that means the most to her right now. Gomez smirks as Thing untied the children. Edward let out a laugh. I just came back now that her blood has matured, and the children can be a snack. As soon as he said that, the children sprang away and Fester detonate the bombs, causing the ground to collapse under the men. Gomez and I both pull out our guns and shoot everywhere in the hole. When the smoke clears, I remember the knife up my sleeve. I pull it out and throw it with accuracy and hit Jacob in the heart and says, you would have never won me back, especially after you threatened and kidnapped members of my new family. Gomez looks at the severely burnt Edward and says, she is mine, all mine. He pulls me into a quick kiss and he takes out his flamethrower cigar lighter and tells Edward lights out. He burns Edward to a crisp. Everyone lets out a cheer as I rush towards the children to make sure they are all right. When I am sure they are not injured, I pull them into a suffocating hug. Third paw. Everyone made it back to the house. The children complained that Edward and Jacob made them watch Disney movies and eat Happy Meals for McDonald's. A shudder ran through the adults. Disney, Happy Meals, the horror. Grandmama hurried to the kitchen to feed them a proper meal and snacks. Lurch headed to the organ and started to play a waltz tune. Isabella tell the children, "I am glad that you are back, it wasn't the same without all of you." The children head to the dining room as Grandmama puts the food in the table. The children start to play with their food and eventually they eat and Gomez send them off to bed. Isabella turns and looks at Gomez, relief written across their faces. Gomez pulls Isabella into a searing kiss. "Isabella, am I Amor?" Gomez starts, "Be my bride for eternity, never leave me or the children." Isabella breaks into a huge smile and says, "Of course, I love you and the children." With that said, Gomez throws Isabella over his shoulder and rushes to the bedroom where they made love all night. The end.